everyone, and welcome back to another Storytime video. And today I'm going to talk about graduating college, at least the first time. Now, this was at the tech school that I went to. So, I'm going to talk about basically the last couple of days of school and then going up to graduating itself and the ceremony and all that other stuff. So the last couple days were good. I would say they were great. It's always bittersweet to leave something like high school or college or wherever you're going to school because well, if you like it anyway, it's bittersweet in the sense that you're probably going to miss it, but you understand that you need to move on to something bigger and greater in your life. I don't know what that might be, whether it's working right after or getting more school. That's always possible. Even if you are graduating college, it's possible to get a higher degree or do something else. So, no matter what you're doing, you realize that, well, it sucks that you're not going to be attending that school anymore. You realize that your ambitions are greater than that school. So, yeah, so I spent the last few days trying to soak it in, just kind of walk around the school a little bit, just kind of soak it in. Because you know that while there's the possibility of you coming back to that school, if it's in person and not online like it did the second time, then you know that there's the possibility of you returning one day, or not. You don't ever have to. But anyway, so I finished up one last assignment. The Wednesday or Thursday before, and my last day at the tech school was a Tuesday. So it felt kind of weird in the sense that we had, of course, a whole week of school, and then we had a weekend, and then we went back for 2 days, and then that was just it. Now, the work was, I don't want to say light, but light in terms of content, or my instructor wasn't giving us as much work toward the end, and he realized, I think he did that because partly because he wanted us to kind of focus on trying to find a job, and I will talk about that in a separate storytime video one day, just trying to get my first job in IT. Because getting that first job was very, very difficult. And oh boy, do I have a good story for you that day that I decided to tell that story. But, I want to get back on track. So, when I wasn't finishing off the last couple assignments that I had, for school, I was applying to jobs and all that. So I was constantly applying for jobs, asking my professor, hey, based on what we've learned here while I've been here and what we've covered and everything, would this job be great or no? And I asked that about a good, I don't know, 5 or 10 jobs where I just wasn't sure about the particular job. And, I, the second to last day, and this overlaps the finding the first IT job, but the second to last day, my a bunch of my classmates went out to eat at a restaurant that Monday just to, you know, hang out and do whatever before graduating. And I wish I could have gone to that, but I had a job interview set up for the job that I eventually got. Um, Again, I'll cover that a little more, well, in more detail when I get to the other story. Anyway, so I interviewed for that other job, so I wasn't able to do the other. Uh, so I wasn't able to hang out with my classmates, and usually now it wasn't a rule or anything, but basically whenever one of us had a job interview or something like that, we would typically uh, tell our professor about it and tell our classmates about it. Of course, you didn't have to, but it was always nice to go, hey, well, they asked me about such and such, or this thing, or that thing. So, of course, when I went back in the afternoon after they did that, late morning, early afternoon, I think I got back at like 1:30, and they had already gone out to eat and come back, so I think they went and left at like 11 o'clock. So they were already back, and so that was kind of the second to last day, and uh, every time we would have break, and this was a tradition for me at this point, but every time we would have a break, my professor would typically let us bring in some technology or whatever. So I brought in my gaming computer, and typically I would play one game and get it to almost the end, and then whenever we had the break coming up, I would typically bring my computer in and beat the final little bit of the game. And sometimes we would have a cookout, and in case you have I actually made a storytime video on one of these where one time before break when I was attending this college, that is when I grilled hamburgers outside for everybody. So typically we would have a feast or some special meal or something at the end of every trimester. We went in 3 month blocks, so from January to late April, May to basically Labor Day, and Labor Day to Christmas. So for and yeah, it was a year-round thing. So before the 2 weeks that we had off in the summer, I did grill, and that's when I did grill. But that's not this time. So, but before each one of those ended, the day before we went on a break, we typically had a feast. And this particular time, we did have a feast as well. And the school put it on, and they put it in not the cafeteria. The school was too small for a cafeteria. Um, but you did kind of have a little lounge area with a few tables, microwave, and stuff like that, as well as a couple vending machines. Old school vending machines, not like the um, not like some of the vending stuff at work where you put in a certain amount, you grab something off a shelf, and you scan it, and it takes it out of your account balance or whatever. I've had a job or two where that's the case, but it was just put some quarters or $1 in there, and you get a bag of chips or whatever. Um, I don't remember what kind of meat we had. I'm picturing uh not sloppy joes, but it's like pulled pork or something. Although I want to say that that would be too expensive for the school. Well, I I put that in massive quotations because a college could be making $500 billion and they would still be like, oh, we're broke, or we need money, or we need this, we need that, we need more money. But that's a tangent I don't want to go down. I'm not saying I know how much the college I went to is valued, or how much they have, or how much money they have, but regardless, we had some kind of meat, and I remember having sweets, like, a, I think we had a cake and cookies, and I want to say brownies too, but we had that stuff. And for the game on my computer that I beat that day, I beat the final part of the original Resident Evil 4. Yes, the one that came out in 2005. And that was awesome. I was able to beat that early enough that I was able to um, eat whenever we all had lunch, but it's the last day and the professor's grading stuff on the last day. So it doesn't really, I guess looking back, it didn't really matter when we all took lunch, but we were all just messing around. Um, and no, the last day was not like all the other uh, days before that where I did work, and when I wasn't doing work, I did not apply to jobs. I didn't apply for jobs on the last day. Again, I'll talk about it in the story where I'll talk about getting my first IT job, but I, I put in so many applications that it would make your head spin. It would absolutely make your head spin. But yeah, and then what's always funny about going to school, and of course I'll talk about leaving and all that. The end of the day was sad, telling everybody bye and all that. Um, and you know, I think we had HR and a couple other professors, and I think maybe even the president or the school president was there. Um, it was very surreal. It was certainly not like the last day of high school for me. I'll say that. Um, but yeah, what's similar to high school, uh, just like with college, is that what's weird is that at the end of the day, you go home like you usually do, and this also happens whenever you leave a job, by the way, or at least what I have found. But especially for school, even though you see it farther away and you're anticipating it more. But you just kind of go home and you're like, that's it? I don't, I'm not going back? And for some of you, that's like, whether you don't like a job or don't like school, that might be awesome for you, where you're like, thank God, I don't have to go back. But it almost feels like a normal day where you're like, okay, well, I'm home now, like I would be any other day. Uh, cool. I'm just gonna chill out for a while. Like, especially since my last day of school there was on a Tuesday. So it's not like that was a Friday and it's like, oh, I'm going to go to an arcade, or I'm going to go bowling, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. I guess you could still do all that even if it's a Tuesday, but it's like, oh, I'm going to do all that with my friends. No, either they're doing something else. But yeah, it's just and there's not an eerie feeling, because I was going to describe it as an eerie feeling. It's almost like a surreal feeling. Well, it is a surreal feeling, and I was going to say eerie as well, but it's not eerie. It's just it's just a weird feeling. It's hard to describe, especially if you haven't been through that yet, but it's just so weird to me. But yeah, my advice to anybody that is graduating, whether it's elementary school, middle school, high school, college, some secondary school, you name it. My advice to you would be to, if you have the opportunity, soak it in. Soak it in the last little bit that you have, because you might not be able to ever go back, and you might miss it. You might miss it. I miss college sometimes. Um, Heck, I even miss high school sometimes. And yet I've been to college twice. And I have several years of work experience in my field. And I enjoy it. And I still miss high school sometimes. And also, I hope that all of you would use this as a stepping stone to something better. Because while one chapter of your life is coming to an end, Another chapter is just beginning. And so yes, guys, I do believe that will do it for this storytime video. And so next storytime video, I will see you all later. Goodbye, guys. Thank you all for watching. And